Talking about dying is very hard. Talking about hospice is very hard. It's kind of a taboo.
You hear someone has hospice, there's a kind of comfort. I start to kind of breathe, saying, oh, they're going to get all these levels of care. It's not just looking at the nursing and checking the lungs. It's, do you want some music? There's a social worker to work with the family. So you're getting a community.
The difference between coming to visit in the hospital and then the first time I came to hospice.
Yeah, I remember the day that we got to hospice, and it was just like a weight was lifted off of her shoulders.
She was just so much less agitated.
We had hospice come in and show us how to feed her, how to take care of her medication, how to change the bed, with her in it. Also to explain the dying process.
Hospice at home, the care that they provide and how quickly they react to everything. And I can't say enough about whether it's at home or whether it's in a care facility. They're just so supportive and so helpful.
I remember when the hospital staff approached me about this thing called palliative care. I had never heard about it. I don't know if you had ever heard about it, and I know I called you.
What helped us to make it possible was being able to understand the palliative care thing.
And I was just praying that you'd be down for it, because I was like, that means, shoot, we could take her home.
I just thought it was an ordinary doctor visit. 2 months later, those test results came back, and she was diagnosed with thyroid cancer, and she had 3 months to live.
Her physical ability, it started going down, and I think that was when the family made the decision to really move her back at home.
Chị phụ thuộc ở giờ chị biết sao chỉ ra thọ thành mổ ha thọ hospice cho nurse ha thọ luôn nurse home tạo bộ cảm biết cho một trẻ giờ ta nên chụp bên nhau bị chơi số mong lò bên rong sa gia đình dạy bên mong phụ bên lúc trẻ nó thì biết sao cho nên mong.
As Mother got older, I knew that her time with us was limited, but I didn't know if it was years or months or what it was. So it's like there wasn't a beginning point for me to know when she was going to die. I just knew that was going to happen, and I just wanted her to be with us as long as she could.
I remember being told, Grandma is dying. And as a child, I went and sat on the bed, and I looked at her, and I said, are you dying? And Grandma said, yes, I am. And she said, so we need to say goodbye.
When she had that fever, and I remember her looking at me very clearly and saying, thank you. And it kind of shook me. Because I didn't know why she was saying it then.
I told Mom, I said, Mom, at least can I walk with you every step of the way? And she just calmly said, yes.
He was born not breathing, not crying, not moving. I felt like that was our first entry into end of life.
How old was Levi when he went to heaven?
7.
7. Yeah. Do you remember how long ago that was?
No.
Almost a year.
There's no reason a young person, a really young person, can't understand incrementally life and death.
When me and Grandma would always just sit in the yard together and just ask each other questions. I always thought that was really nice. And what's painful to remember? Probably the day she died. Everybody was really sad.
Our sister Connie, everyone kind of looked up to her, and she was a strong one and in control. And
Definitely in control, right?
And for her, when the decision was made that she needed to go to hospice,
She didn't want anybody to know,
No.
right?
Yeah, right.
Really tight about it. I had called George up and I said, George, do you intend for Connie to die with you in New York by yourselves in the apartment? And he said, oh, no, I can't have it. I said, well, then I'm coming to get her. She was on the stretcher and I looked at her and she looked at me and she gave me the thumbs up. And I thought, all right, here we go.
When we rode in the ambulance with her back to the house, and I just remember that it was as heavy as it was light.
yeah. I remember when they were bringing her into the house and me telling them, okay, before you take her to the room where she'll be, take her back into the family room, the fireplace room, so she can lay eyes on the photographs of her people.
mẹ chuột tụ cho cứ một tuần này mò rong này bé này
chị nương đi chị bé trẻ trong trẻ to đã chị nương đi muốn đi lo này hiểu một cái tổ ban ra chị có chua ba nương chị nương mà tổ ban ra một cái chị.
And we saw an increase in her ability to heal, her ability to eat again, and her ability to be joyful again.
He was sitting there at the breakfast table, and I came in, and he wasn't talking a whole lot because he had Parkinson's, but he was eating all this food.
Nửa lú neng mà nửa mua lú lâu cao hậu rau chua mà hậu rau chua xứ chỉ bu cả chữ cho chữ dễ lú lâu cao uống mò xứ chỉ bu cả chữ cho chữ dễ chị nửa mua xí hậu cho cá lọ có nửa lú lâu cao nửa uống cho rau mò lên nửa nhẹ nửa no chị nửa chị li rong xía chị rong gọi li.
And they asked Connie what she would like when she first came, and she said, I want a chocolate malt. And so they said, okay. And so pretty soon she said, when I saw her, she had a chocolate malt.
Such a comfort to go to hospice and not have all of the trappings of medicine around, and a place for the family to gather and not have to feel like they're disturbing an entire hospital floor.
I mean, my first night here, it was just like, it's so quiet. And they're not coming in every 2 hours. I just could not believe how quiet the hospice was in comparison to the hospital.
We started at home, so it wouldn't make sense to do it any other way to end at home.
Well, and he spent only 5 weeks out of 7 years in a hospital.
You and I had been taking care of Mom for years, so we already knew what to do, and being able to know that there was a support team that if we needed to, if emotionally we couldn't do it, or if we were in need in any way, shape, or form, is you make that phone call and they were there.
cứ giờ tại yêu chế tôi này ở tàu nè chỉ giờ tại yêu có số tụ tôi này ở đó là bé chỉ giờ tham mỏ bé chỉ giờ nurse đó là bé yên follow cho tham mỏ cho chạy mua chua cho nó bang người lúc sau chạy nó chua ha bé bang người khu người lúc sau luôn chỉ có người mua khó rong xa.
But looking too at her own safety and well-being and her comfort, I think she was far more comfortable here in the hospice than she would have been at home.
Don't you see that they trust you when they come? You shave them, you take them to the whirlpool bath, and then after 15 minutes they come, you dress them differently. What do you think they feel about it?
They just feel very happy about the way we're doing their care, their fingernails, their toenails, every part of their body we like to just make it good and even smell good.
They don't have to die in a hospital. They can die in an environment surrounded by people, even if they don't have family.
But
there
just
are people who
familiar
specialize.
people, or
Yeah.
people who are familiar with them. It doesn't. You're right. It doesn't have to be family or loved ones.
Right. It's
People who
people-
specialize in understanding.
Yeah, exactly. Who have compassion and will be there, and have that gentle voice like you do, and are caring and can be there for a complete stranger.
If they were not eating, they would start eating, or they would be getting up, walk around when they're clean, and food comes on time, and then medications are very well managed and very well titrated.
She was aware, she was alert, even though she was transitioning even at that point. And then when she was in that place, she recognized being home.
I always reference it as like a 3.5-day house party.
Absolutely.
With all the people that were able to then come home. People wouldn't have been able to come up in the hospital like that to say goodbye to Mom.
Not at all.
And just to come and see her, but to see about us, as it should be. And it reminded me of the traditions of African people, you know, on the village coming to honor her in that way.
Absolutely.
While she was still with us.
While she was still with us.
To celebrate Jack's life while he was still alive.
Yeah.
He was willing to say, I'm willing to have this now, instead of, no, wait until later.
Or until a memorial when you die, and then all these people show up and do wonderful things and you're not there.
And she had a clique of girls that she chummed around with. There were about 5 of them. And they lived in New York and California and Timbuktu, who knows. I mean, they were really close, and that was very nice that they could do that. And of course, to see her, how much weight she lost and everything else, they didn't say anything like that. They just said, how are you, old buddy, and stuff like that, you know.
One time I thought, well, I'll just rub her feet and see how that goes. You know, and I got done with one. I'm like, and I'm not really sure if she really knew. And she kind of pushed her other foot out there, like, you have to get the other one too.
And as I held him, his eyes opened, he started to smile and wake up and recognized I was there. We hadn't seen each other for a while, and he said, oh, it's Tommy.
It's an important thing is to touch people, and so they know that they aren't being cast off to sea alone.
There was a time where I had to help her to bed in the evening, and for myself that was hard, you know, because I didn't want her to fall. And she was getting weaker and weaker.
Their reality of just going from being somebody very active to somebody that was just bedbound was very difficult.
Cô rong xa thì lúc sợ nó có bao nhiêu thì lúc sợ nó yêu thế mình nhau là nó chỉ bao nhiêu thì cái thầu rong lên nó thì nó nhau hàng cho họแต่thầu cái nó chỉ bao có thì có một có chỉ lại nó có nó thì nó tàu có nó thâu có cái giờ lòng đại bởi thì là nó chỉ càng nó
Personal modest things, she just, you know, that was very hard for her. And I had to, at one point, just grab her hands and have her look at me and say, it's all right, I've got this, you know, just to let her know that, you know.
Even with, I would try and mix up protein drinks and do everything I could, but she just couldn't do it. Her body was just done.
When you're just too weak to eat, you really just know it's just kind of going to be over pretty soon. And yeah.
That Monday morning at 4 a.m. when I got the text from you saying, well, if you want to come and be with me, Mom's dying, just came as such a slap in the face. I mean, there's reality.
One time I was there, it was like dusk, and I happened to look up because there was a deer like right outside their window, and he just kind of popped his head up, you know, and was looking in. It's like he came to visit.
Levi had a huge heart. He had a depth. Huge heart. Huge heart.
That day, he just gave me this look like, Dad, stop. It's not gonna happen this time. That was hard.
What's something you remember about Levi's end of life?
When I was sleeping.
Yeah, we all just snuggled in Levi all together.
Nếu hồ sa tông inu bay rau rồi cô, chỉ thả chỉ cho dia thả mình chỉ cũng ba xia cũng yếm mu vắt chứ.
You know, just told her it's okay to go. You know, and I mean, we just kind of watched her take some final breaths. It was so peaceful. It was beautiful.
Hospice really encouraged us to let Levi lead. Let his body, his spirit show us his journey through life and then through death.
And I think Levi's quality of life was just greatly enhanced.
You're terribly intimate with somebody who dies while you're holding them. That's not the time to be making your decisions. You should have your paperwork done before. Talking about death is uncomfortable the first time, a little less comfortable the second time, and by the third or fourth time you can talk about it without being freaked out.
Yeah, and we talk freely about it, very freely. What we want, and what we're going to do, and how it's going to be, and what I want you to do, and what I don't want you to do.
People often wait too long.
Yeah.
And she waited trying to fight it, and it was beyond fighting. And I think if she would have
Accepted and went forward and said, okay, what do I
tried
want
to
to
do something fun for the
Right,
rest of her
right.
life.
She was where she began and that, with the family, and so it brought the story to the ending that was a natural ending for her, and she knew it.
That families have a right and should explore the ways that they can do that.
Yeah.
They have options.
They do. You know, they know what they're doing when they're helping families and helping people make this transition.
If it's in a hospice setting, even if it could be at home, with the hospice guidance, with the teamwork, that death becomes more natural, more comfortable. So that is the natural death.
下着你嘅俾我頭嚟，俾一齊癲入我，俾ลูกเขาหมอปู俾佢鬥我路嚟誒。
Cho kể lúc bé chăm nhỏ bé lúc của nhà hàng bé yêu là chả bé tàu tàu cho của nhà cho kiến chơi có cho nút cơ để bé thiết tàu ua liều bé ua tàu